Hello everyone, Laurie here from Wellbrook Wines. Thank you very much for buying our winter tasting case. We've put together some little videos, one per wine, because we thought it would be a nice idea to share with you our thoughts on the wines and our enthusiasm for these wines that you've bought. We'd like to tell you a little bit about where they're from, how they're made, the grape varieties involved in making them, maybe chuck in some completely random thoughts and facts, who knows? But it'd be nice to share the experience of tasting them with you in a virtual way, of course. So join us, it'll be fun. See you soon. Hello again, wine lovers, and thanks again for buying the Wellbrook Wines winter tasting case. Today we're in South Africa, in Stellenbosch to be precise, and we're tasting Pinotage, South Africa's very own red grape variety. Now, South Africa is of course in what we call the New World of wine, and like most of the New World wine countries, we're talking about European settlers going to those countries hundreds of years ago, taking vines with them and establishing a fledgling industry. No exception with South Africa, and it was actually the Dutch, understandably, who took the first vines. The first vintage was actually reported in 1659. God knows what that tasted like. But it wasn't until about 40, 50 years later, when the French arrived with their vines and their expertise, their knowledge, that one imagines slightly more drinkable wines started to be produced. Fast forward 250, 270 years, and we have the beginnings of the modern South African wine industry. South Africa is quite unique. The wine growing lands are very small. Everything in vineyard terms is within 100 miles of Cape Town, and of course it's very coastal. Stellenbosch itself is wedged between False Bay in the south and Paarl just north. Some of Stellenbosch is right on the coast, some of it's slightly inland, but it's essentially a coastal climate. And although South Africa is quite small in production terms, it has a huge tapestry of different circumstances, different terroirs that the winemakers can choose to grow grapes on. Warm, dry summers, cool, quite moist winters. Usually no need to irrigate despite the hot temperatures. Sometimes there is, but usually not. Fairly temperate. So let's talk about Pinotage. Pinotage, as you may well know, is actually a cross between two other grape varieties, a cross-pollination. Sometimes that happens naturally in the wild, as with Torontes from Argentina, which is a natural cross of Muscat and a grape called Criolla. But in South Africa, in 1925, a chap called Abraham Isaac Perold, who was the first professor of viticulture at Stellenbosch University, he had the idea of combining the characteristics of Pinot Noir and Cinsault. Pinot Noir, of course, the great grape of Burgundy, light, delicate, elegant, complex wines. Cinsault, less well known, widely planted in southern France, in the Rhone Valley, in the Languedoc-Roussillon. A robust grape, thick skins, lots of colour, lots of tannin, powerful. So I'm guessing that Mr. Perrault was looking to try and harness the beauty of Pinot Noir, but give it some protection, thicker skins, etc. These days, with 100 years of evolution of this grape in South Africa, it's probably a bit pointless trying to identify Pinot Noir or Cinsault-like characteristics in Pinotage, but the temptation's irresistible. It's fairer to treat Pinotage as a grape variety in its own right. It certainly has its own personality, there's no question of that. It's a versatile grape. It can make simple, everyday, midweek wines. It can also make really, really serious, powerful, intense wines that can age beautifully. Sometimes it's used in blending, sometimes it's on its own, as is the case here. The Delheim family are one of the greats of Stellenbosch, Stellenbosch being the original and arguably still the best region for certainly red grape, red wine production. Yeah, one of the big names, and this is a great wine. So let's taste it. Much darker than Pinot Noir. That'll be your Sanso Parentage. It's a lovely, quite dark purple colour. Lovely youthful looking colour. Oh, that's beautiful. What I often get with Pinotage, and I'm getting it here, is a savoury note. There's lots of fruit, and the fruit characteristics are dark fruits, plums. I'm not going to say jammy, but slightly curranty, but with this lovely savoury note, which almost smoky bacon, a little bit of spice maybe. Really nice, really open and warm nose, perfect wintry nose. Forgot my spittoon again. Oh, that's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. Beautiful mouthfeel, lovely texture, super soft. Really lovely, comforting, round tannins. Great mouthfeel. And what's interesting is that fruit character on the nose carries through onto the palate, nice dark fruits, but then you find something else, almost a licorice-like, dark, bitter cherry in a nice way. Definitely a licorice-like finish. Really good. Spice. Yeah, lovely. A real winter wine for sure. So there we are. Delheim Pinotage from Stellenbosch in South Africa. I hope you enjoy it. Cheers.